You know that moment when someone asks, "So, what do you do?" And something in you tightens just slightly? Not because the question is offensive, not because the person means harm, but because you can already feel the script unfolding. The polite smile, the predictable answers, the surface-level exchange that will circle safely around anything real. There's a certain kind of person who can navigate these conversations perfectly well and still leave them feeling strangely empty. You respond, you nod, you even ask questions back, but internally you're waiting for something else, something unscripted, something that feels alive. From the outside, this often gets misunderstood. It can look like arrogance, social awkwardness, disinterest in people. You might have been told you're too intense, too serious, that it's not that deep, as if wanting more substance is somehow a social flaw. But hating small talk isn't about thinking you're above it. It's usually about how your mind and nervous system engage with connection. This is about the psychology of people who dislike small talk, and it's rarely explained in a way that feels fair. It's often framed as a personality quirk, introvert versus extrovert. But there's more going on here than people realize. Some brains are wired for depth processing. In cognitive psychology, there's a distinction between shallow processing, quick surface-level exchanges, and deep processing, which seeks meaning, patterns, and emotional nuance. People who dislike small talk often default to the second mode. Their attention naturally moves toward substance. When conversation stays on the surface, their brain doesn't get the stimulation it's looking for. It's not that they can't participate, it's that it doesn't feel rewarding. Neuroscience research suggests that meaningful social interaction activates reward circuits more strongly for some individuals than casual, low-stakes exchange. Depth feels energizing. Surface feels draining. There's also the element of authenticity. Some people have a heightened sensitivity to incongruence, when words don't fully match what's felt underneath. Small talk, by design, avoids vulnerability. It keeps things safe and socially efficient. But for someone attuned to emotional subtext, that safety can feel like distance. In real life, this translates into impatience with scripts, weather updates, rehearsed anecdotes, networking conversations that orbit status rather than substance. You might find yourself steering discussions toward ideas, beliefs, fears, motivations, anything that reveals how someone actually thinks. For many, this pattern has roots in early experience. If you grew up having to read between the lines, sensing moods, navigating unspoken tensions, you likely developed a radar for what's real. Surface communication might feel insufficient because your system learned that what's unsaid matters more than what's spoken. Or maybe you were the person who felt unseen in casual environments, the one whose deeper thoughts didn't quite fit into quick exchanges. Over time, you learned to crave conversations where you don't have to compress yourself into something lighter than you are. It's important to say this clearly. Small talk isn't inherently shallow or pointless. It serves a social function. It signals safety. It builds gradual trust. For many people, it's a comfortable entry point into connection. Disliking it doesn't make you superior. And enjoying it doesn't make someone superficial. Different nervous systems open at different speeds. Some warm up through shared lightness, others through shared depth. Here's where it gets interesting. People who hate small talk often care deeply about connection. They don't want fewer conversations. They want real ones. They're not avoiding people. They're avoiding performative interaction. There's a paradox here. The desire for depth can sometimes make it harder to access it, because depth usually requires patience, and patience often starts with the very surface-level exchanges you dislike. The bridge to meaning sometimes looks like small talk at first. There's also a quiet vulnerability underneath this preference. When you want conversations to matter, you're also risking disappointment. It's easier, in some ways, to keep things light. Depth asks for exposure. It asks for honesty. It asks for being seen. And yet this tendency carries strength. People who resist small talk often think independently. They're comfortable exploring complex ideas. They can sit in ambiguity. When someone does meet them at that deeper level, the connection can feel profound and lasting. You're not difficult because you don't enjoy scripted exchanges. You're not antisocial because you get restless with surface chatter. Your mind simply seeks meaning. Your nervous system relaxes when conversations feel genuine. Understanding this can soften the self-criticism. Instead of forcing yourself to become someone who thrives on casual banter, you can recognize what actually energizes you. And instead of dismissing small talk entirely, you might see it as a doorway rather than a destination. If this feels familiar, there are probably other areas of your life where you gravitate toward depth over display, where you'd rather understand than impress, where you'd rather connect than perform. And that inclination toward substance, toward sincerity, says something steady about you. If it resonated, there's more to explore about how your mind forms connection and why it does so the way it does.